Thank you. I'm Karenann McDonald, and we're here for part 3 of 3. I think that's it for today. But anyway, 3 out of 3 for today. We've been doing this for like 3 hours. We almost have it down pat for you guys. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Marianne, it's a pleasure to have you back. You've got such a great testimony. You have been doing some amazing new things. You've been in the health field for a long time yourself, but all of us have challenges, every one of us. And sometimes you need to hear it from a friend, sometimes several times, or a new idea, or something that you can open, for your own kind of like smorgasbord here. So Marianne, welcome to my show. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about what your little journey has been since you and I got together, because we're on Facebook, but We're also on a couple Zooms lately. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I started in holistic health like 3.5 decades ago. And what took me there was I was bedridden with fibromyalgia. And so I got into holistic health I'm an adoptee for myself and my kids. It's like, if I have all this wrong with me, then whatever. And so, but then over time, it's like nutrition and stress, nutrition and PTSD, like it was all of that. And for some reason, like as time goes on and you go down different rabbit holes, I sort of lost track of some of the OG things that I should have done, the basic gut things that I had learned way back when in my nutritional school. And like you brought me back to that, but then like so much more. Mm-hmm. And like your knowledge base is just so absolutely incredible. The first time I spoke to you, I said that you were the most fascinating person I had ever met, which is true. And I've met some pretty incredible people. Thank you. I'm just so blown away. So yes, you've taken me back to, this is the root cause. This is where we start. These are the things to do. And then of course I've learned so much, on top of what I already knew. Like I'm like, even things like, you've got me reading this book, which is fascinating, and this one, which is going to help me with the PTSD. And then you've got me into the essential oils. And so I have this book. And so then when I'm putting the oils on my feet at night, I went straight to her book, and it's like, which ones help me, right? With stress and PTSD and all of, like, I can now target things. Mm-hmm. And same with, I had a tuning fork. I had no idea what to do with it. You just bring it once in a while. And like, in like 5 or 10 minutes, you've got me, like, I learned so much about that. And it's like, oh, now I know which one I need for whatever I need to work on. For sure. And then the NeuroVizr, like, I have memory issues right now. And probably just because of the lot of stress that I've had. Mm-hmm. And NeuroVizr, oh my God, I play it on in the morning to help me with the whole wake up thing, and in the afternoon for focus or for spirituality or for just relaxation. Mm-hmm. And then right before I go to bed, everything that I'm learning from you is just so phenomenal. I'm so very grateful, so very grateful. So there's so many things that I have learned, but the most important part to me is you're a space, because you've got the professionalism, but you've got the care and compassion. And, when I struggle with, not doing things perfectly because I'm human or because I'm having a trigger or something, you're just so kind and compassionate. There's never any judgment. There's just encouragement. And it's like, oh, and this and that. But you'll also take something and it's like, oh, here's this one thing you can do, but you can also add this, change this, and make things more potent. Mm-hmm. And quicker and easier to get things done, instead of like, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this. And so I'm continually amazed also actually by your continuing learning. You're like me, you're a lifelong learner. And so it's like, oh, every time something new comes along that, we can add to our toolbox, like you're right there. And so you have done so much to support my healing journey. I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, well, I just love it. I said, I don't have like patients anymore. I don't have clients. We have friends, and this becomes a choice. And it's really, once you develop, and having those relations, right, as friends,
yeah,
what can you do to help each other and to support each other? and I think everyone should have a lot of these. When I start talking, like we talked about in part 1 and 2, about, what are yoni steams? Do you know about this? Do you know about that? Once you try that a couple times, you go, you know what? And it sits back in the back of your mind. I'm like, I've been doing a lot of this, like I said, steaming since, facial steams and then moving it to vaginal steams and then full, as you think, full chakra or biofield steaming, Yeah. That's one of the most things. And one of the things you just brought here, which is, see, I was having a psychic moment, which I do. I brought my lavender out, right? And I just love this, just gathered at gifts and stuff like that. But, especially out here in the Okanagan and Kootenays, we grow some of this. But it's about potency. And smelling it is one thing. And crumbling this and making a sachet or a tea is another thing. Putting it in a steam will give you another version. Then, of course, I went, oh my gosh, I can have it in lavender spray, right? That's another version of it. It's all potency. Now, is this going to go inside? No, it's going to make the outside smell nice for about 3 seconds.
But it cleans off the aura as well.
That's right. But then I have, a whole bunch of what they did. I went to the back room while we were like, okay, I got 5 minutes here to spare. And I grabbed started getting my essential oils, right? So I went, well, what are the things here? We talked about trauma and shock, jasmine. That was one of the first things in here. Cedarwood. A lot of people smudge. Like I have all the smudge bowls back here, right? But again, it's like, I don't use Febreze and stuff like that or whatever you do, Lysol. But anyway, in here, and then like cedarwood. And then I went in here and I grabbed, initially I went for 1 or 2 things, but I ended up getting way more. It was like frankincense to cross the blood-brain barrier. And I said, I put these in chocolates. I put it in my food all the time. The other thing is vanilla. I have a chocolate essential oil. Now, how I started with this was I was on I got to talk about lavender here, right? Well, here's my lavender essential oil, right? So again, is it here? Is it going to be in the tea form, in the spray form? What is the best form?
Yes.
And when you get potency, then I could put it into a tincture, then we could put it under the tongue, then we could put it with maple syrup. How is the best frequency? And then I could take all of these different forms of frequency, and I got more, and then I'm going to put it on my remedy plate. So then I can give someone the sound or the frequency. But the funny thing is, I could run all of these forms all at the same time.
Yeah.
So that I could work physically, mentally, emotionally, and in the biofield. And that's when the coolest thing. So if anyone wants some really funky one of these, let me know. I know where to get the suppliers. So, I've got plates all over here, like left, right, and center, and sacred geometry and stuff you can do to speakers. And then, of course, I went, oh, wow, maybe you want like I said, what does the Genius do? It does a tuning fork version of all these forms of lavender, right? Or do I want to use a lavender crystal like amethyst?
Yeah.
So like I said, there are so many different forms. Yep. And using the crystals and stuff like that, how is the best thing? Or can I put lavender and things like that? So these are all amazing tools, all to be used. And that's why I love the Genius. And I love your testimony on that. Now, we talked a little bit about the NeuroVizr. Mm-hmm. So a little bit on here, because I said, have you tried this? And, I talked to Garnett Dupuis, just like I talked to Ryan Williams, right? I was on this morning. I talk to Ryan at least once or twice a week, whether I need to or not for my sanity and health, and to bring up ideas and stuff like that we can contribute to our tribe. We have a soul community that's on ilovemygenius.com. We're on Facebook. But more importantly, we have got, 80,000 of these in. And most of my people are not, yes, I set up, naturopathic clinics. I send them to MDs. I send them to chiropractors. I sent up into doing like acupuncture using sound acupuncture, right? Aromatherapist, use it with your aromatherapy. You're a psychologist or you're a social worker, let's use it on the emotional part if you're doing trauma counseling, right? But one of the most important things that I thought was really cool was talking to Garnett Dupuis, but his European development team. So with Karsten and Anastasia, I love them, right? And I was like, Marianne, have you looked at this, NeuroVizr? And I'm going to share a little bit about it just for a second and show you where you can get these, because it's so important. Now we can take our biofeedback. You could buy that NeuroVizr, and they come in white light. They also come in synchronicity. They come in a what's called for brain wellness. Yep, there she is. And I've got mine too. But you can also use this, and it's got like literally hundreds of different things we'll show you in a minute here. But it also comes now with an LED. It's called the NeuroVizr. So those people that like red light therapy, we have different forms of it. But one of the things in here is we've now been combining, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, is I've been using the NeuroVizr with the Genius simultaneously. So I could run them on the same app, or what I've done is I've put my NeuroVizr on here. So you can have your Genius or NeuroVizr on this and have 2 or 3 devices going. It's just the amount of stuff that we're getting for heart rate variability changes. I just put a whole thing on my Facebook about Greg Braden talking about the heart rate variability, getting the brain and the heart coherent so it works as one.
I just watched that the other night.
Did you? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So I said, you got to see what I've done with the Genius, man. And I sent stuff to Greg saying, you want to know about this? I've got it. So I sent to Greg Braden, hey, I got some cool stuff. I sent it to my MBOC. I'm sending it to different people, in here and see, if they're going to bite. I'll be doing one with Celeste Solom pretty soon too. But one of the things here, I'm just going to screen share here. And so you can see something that's just set up, how mine is set up, why it's set up. And then Marianne and I will talk a little bit about that and how wild it is. I started looking at people like Navy psychiatrists, and we now have got Navy psychiatrists that are actually using this instead of giving drugs. So if we can take children off Ritalin and women off Valium and all these different things, that's my goal, okay? There is an essential oil for that. So hopefully, can you see my screen okay, Marianne?
I see it. It's a little fuzzy. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Okay, we're unfuzzed. Okay, so all of these are icons. Thank you. And you see my friend David Hickey. He's with Crystal Journeys. So he's one of the top crystal bowlers that invented sound journeys in Canada, basically, went coast to coast for the last 30 years. So that's it, because I've used these techniques while we've done crystal bowls, and I'm working with Rhys Thomas as well right now with the Rhys Thomas Institute, because there are physical chakras and there are emotional and there are spiritual chakras. So no one likes to talk about the other ones, but I like to. So anyway, we've got the NeuroVizr and we've got the BioVibin, and we have these cool things called quanta caps right now where you can actually take your picture and voice, send it to me, I will analyze it, and we create a playlist for you. And so what you can do is actually go in and basically decide like how loud you want, what kind of chimes you want. Is there anything for addictions, calming, depression, bliss, hormones, you name it, pain, whatever. And then what we do is we go right back in, we select all the ones that we want to listen to, and we activate it. And from there, what you're going to do is you're going to start seeing and hearing sacred geometry. And I think this is the coolest. This is what our clients can experience from a distance, which I think is the cat's meow, right? Mm-hmm. We can also now add this NeuroVizr into that with our Genius. So I'm like, aren't we blazing the trails, right?
All of this is, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So again, we talked a little bit in our other parts here. This was your aura. We started running the frequencies through it, right? And so This was going through, and we were actually working on different parts. So it doesn't matter that it's in there, but I wanted to work on that gray part. So physical, mental, emotional, whatever it may be. And it doesn't really matter, no. That's a great thing about biofeedback. We're doing some stuff instantaneously. Like, this is like the biofeedback of matrix energetics with Richard Bartlett. You can go in and change someone's entire life in less than probably 5-10 minutes when you do this stuff. And I am not joking. I've had people paralyzed. I've had people in comas. I've worked a lot in the hospital and intensive cares to get people. I've worked with animals, house clearing, like feng shui the place. Like it's pretty cool. So in here, as we're seeing the changes, wow, look at that. So we are moving that gray field out. Look at you, you look gorgeous. I'll have to send that to your capsule too while I'm thinking about it. So in here, let's put you in here and off it goes. So you have a memory and a souvenir of our time together. So there we go. But that's actually what we're doing. We're taking those frequencies and those waves and we are running it through the system. So you can just play it like this and look up a little bit. But like I said, they're different forms. So we can run it with magnetics and lights and sound and waves. And so there are many different ways to do this. So I thought, well, this is really cool. So we came up and with Garnett Dupuis, we were all part of the biofeedback teams. We've all been at this for 20, 30 years. So we're not, just fell off the turnip trap or just a knockoff like that we're seeing. A lot of these biofeedbacks are knockoffs that you're seeing. because we were the first ones to start developing the heavy duty voice activated ones. And because ours is proprietary and we blazed it, we're already like light years ahead of most people, right? Anyway, there's the NeuroVizr. Let's talk a little bit about that, shall we? Okay, the NeuroVizr has got different modalities on it. And in here, what we can do, we can make playlists, you can download it. There are settings you can go into for whatever you want to do. There's also where you can contact, but also themes. So you can go in and start making your favorite ones and download these different things. You can also take courses, by the way. So we have courses and they have courses, and I'm going to explain the difference in a minute. And what you're going to do, yes, it does work through Bluetooth, but I don't care, because we have people that have got Alzheimer's and dementia, and guess what? Their memories are back within a month. And it's shown this, that music is so whatever you think about bad EMF, let it go. As my friend Sabrina Wallace talks about 6G and 7G and stuff being under the skin and neurotechnology, and what we're seeing with this 6G, this is totally different. Okay, so there's no EMF coming off some of this stuff, and this is not biosensors that we are using like the hospital management is trying to biohack into you. Okay, this is totally different. These are standalone devices. So in here, what you can do, you can get motivated, you can find focus, and we know I've got a whole Genius section, and I'm going to just run to that. So in our Genius, we have Genius things in the back here. So we can send reports to you, we can do neuro remedies, we can change the frequency, but one of the most important things that we have is our NeuroSync. So the NeuroVizr, we just call it the NeuroSync because we're syncing in it with our biofeedback. And this is where you can actually do your voice, just like we did the AEIOU when we started our sessions. We can go in, and from your voice, you can actually go in, and it's picked 3 of the top type of, things that would be best for your device. So isn't that cool? So we have picked these, well, you have picked them, I didn't pick them. I just gave you a choice of a dozen or so in here, and most of them run 15 to 20 minutes, which is nice because I said you can run your biofeedback at the same time. So I could be putting on the NeuroVizr with or without lights, by the way, because remember, it's the sound. So if you really don't want lights, or there's some people, remember, if they've had fresh cataract surgery or they're photosensitivities up there, or you've got seizuring, well, the lights are not going to be for you, so you can still use the other parts of it. So don't just throw the NeuroVizr out because you think you might have a visual cortex issue. But one of the things in here, we can go into relaxation, and, like I said, all of these work really great. You just pick out what it is, and what you're going to do is simply go in, and it tells you, why is it recommended for you, Marianne? It's telling us here, because we want your brain to get into a theta state between the 4 and the 7 hertz, which is kind of like the Schulman wave, 7.83, right?
Yes.
And the sound, it tells us, well, this one sounds kind of like ocean, Caribbean queen. We've got Marianne out here on the scene. I could rap too. Okay, so we got low harmonic drones and bilateral binaural beats. So this is about doing brain stuff. This is not about listening to music. This is about resetting brain. The light indigo, so we're going to keep, again, different lights you can see, and the accessories. So it tells you how to do that, and then you can begin your journey. So this is really cool how you can get into all these fun things. You can also find your light source. So right now, all of us have lights, right? Lights, camera, action. So right now, it might be looking for the light box. It says, hey, I need to scan it. Where is that little thing? So you have to hold this button for a second, hit connect, and it's looking for it, and it's saying, hey, Karen, you've got 87% of your battery, which is great, because I would have been really embarrassed if I hadn't boosted it up before. You can clip it on. I have about a 30-second delay so that you can, set this all up and go crawl into your bed and put your blankie on, or sit in the couch, or sit in your 0-point recliner, whatever you like, and hit play. So what we're going to do is then we can literally just go into the play. And so in here, as it does its loading, there it will tell you the profiles, that will tell you the intensity. So this is a very nice mild one, and only will have a few flashes in here. It tells you what it's going to be doing, and it tells you other things that you can benefit from. So maybe there might be some other programs, because we've got now hundreds and hundreds of programs to choose from. And then you hit the play.
Take a deep breath in.
You're going to take a deep breath in. And this is where you can, I teach
And a relaxing breath
I
out.
teach visualization, relaxation. You'll see it will do a couple of its little flash things. And once it gets down, my 30 seconds, you like to hear the birds, that's great. So what it will do is it will start flashing for you. And once you put it on, like I said, if you don't want it on here, right? Here's the flashing. When you close your eyes, you will be seeing a kaleidoscope. You will not be seeing white lights like you think you're under an operating table. No, no, no. You will be seeing soft, muted, sometimes pastel colors, and just in sacred geometry. So as I'm doing that, right, that's exactly what's happening. And if you don't want it that intense, take it away. I can put it on stand right here. If you think it's too bright, adjust the intensity. And then once you pull it about a foot and a half away from your field, right? I can still be doing it with your eyes closed. It'll take it down compared to like intense, move it away, turn it less. Don't think you have to always use it. So play with that. Is that cool? There we go. Can you hear me?
Now, but the music was so loud we didn't hear over top of.
Okay, so the point is what I was saying, thank you for that, is just actually put it away from here. You'll still see it. It will get less and less intense to the point after about 2 feet you won't see it. So don't think you have to use the head NeuroVizr. So I wanted to show you that part of it. It's very, very important as we go into that. And this whole thing now about the NeuroSync is absolutely amazing. Like I said, what did you do? So you've put your voice in, just like we've looked for your minerals and vitamins and herbs and the candida and whatever we need to do to bring you back to harmony and to balance. You can go in, and these are, like I said, through the voice, we picked out 3 of them. You did, right? Mm-hmm. But doesn't mean that you can't go in and experience something. So like you said, do I need to sleep better? Do I need to have more control in my life? Heart coherence, self-love to me. Focusing, mental clarity, being grounded, energy awakening. So these have actually where we've put a playlist of genius frequencies, not just the sound ones that we're using from the company, the NeuroVizr, but also the Genius has made its own thing. So this is where I was talking about the lavender. So, you know, you might be getting some lavender essential oil, but through the sound and the light of it. So I think it's really cool about that. So this is one of the things here, and this is basically how it works. So we literally just run our Genius like we normally do with our voice. Mm-hmm. Then we get those, like I said, 3 suggestions, and then we just start. And then you're going to start experiencing an immediate transformation. And this is designed, like I said, to reset the brain where it's being stressed. And we're all getting our brain stressed because we've got 5, 6G, Wi-Fi, and everything else coming at us.
Yeah.
This is, I think, a way to do that. And it's based on your voice. So like I said, there's nothing artificial, synthetic, or we're biohacking into the system whatsoever. So I wanted to kind of leave that with you. And like I said, quite often what I will do is I will actually go on here, and I've got my NeuroVizr on this one. So I will put my Genius on with people, and we can run these where we've got bracelets on, or we have what's called LED bracelets. So you can actually run this on someone's leg, or quite often I will run it on the magnetics through on the ankle or on the arms, and then put this on the other open thing. So now I'm running a couple different things. I'm running infrared or magnetics or PEMF therapy as well. And then what I can do is, because I really like the sounds of the soundscapes through the NeuroVizr, I can go in and start running the NeuroVizr through my phone. And so it's really nice to have this on a second thing. So here's my NeuroVizr or my Genius. Either way, you can do it from one to the other as long as it's on, 2 devices. Yeah. And this is the nice thing on here. So again, you're going to choose what you want for your different programs. Like I said, there are so many different things to take a look at. It's too funny. And when you look at the amount of stuff that we use also for sports medicine, for concentration, I'm dealing with people, I just talked with one of the guys yesterday that works in the local area, street outreach. So I started talking about how this can be used, for people with chemical and biological and other kind of addictions, because addictions can be in many forms. Like I said, they can be physical, mental, it could be sugar, it could be just people with porn. Like you never know where the addictions are running these days with people. And that's one of the things that I think is really, really important, is that when you look at the amount of choices that we have, it's brilliant what we can go into. And so all these different sessions here, and I'm just going to screen share again, and maybe you can tell, what your experience has been while I'm just showing this screen, and what you noticed right away. Because I've got people that have literally, I can put the biofeedback on and the NeuroVizr, and within 10 minutes, this is especially for people that don't meditate and don't like to, they are actually sleeping and in the deepest relaxed delta mode you have ever seen. And that's in 10 minutes. I can hear them snoring. So nice. I'm getting it, I think, down to the science. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been here too?
So I have the Genius on my iPad because I like the big screen. And then I have the NeuroVizr on my phone. And I'll in 10 minutes, it is the most relaxing program ever, whether I'm doing first thing in the morning, last thing at night, whether I'm doing focus in the middle of the afternoon or spirituality or meditation, I'm calm and relaxed. And even with the focus one, I'm calm and relaxed and yet then focused. I look forward to it. It's almost like when people are afternoon, I've never been a napper, but some people love their naps and it's like, oh, I feel refreshed, I can carry on. I do this for the 12 minutes and I'll tell you, it's a total reset. It's beautiful.
Now, one of the cool things I really like about it is we have something called neurodosing. So a lot of people that have tried psychedelics or don't want to do psychedelics. I'm not one that wants to do psychedelics. I don't do well with anything like that. But when it's in a light form and it's sound, I could take literally a shaga, this, or any kind of a mushroom. You can do it in a sound or light form so that you're not experiencing that paranoia or having detox symptoms and all sorts of stuff. So this has been a way for me to work with a lot of people that have had addictions and trauma and pain, or people that are vets, a lot of people that are in the forces or essential services like, RCMP or military, or even nurses and doctors, right, with the trauma that we see on there. So working on the brain gym, coordinating that. And again, we have programs that you can work through, let's say a 3-day program or a 7-day program or 21-day program on here. And I mean, everyone's got different things, different kinds of music they like. A lot of people have got habits, mood issues right now. I've got a lot of children too with hormones. We're seeing with the atrazine, we're seeing with toxoplasmosis. A lot of people are not aware that the toxoplasmosis gondii, which is a parasite that's passed through cats and other animals, transfers to children. And we're now knowing that this is actually one of the biggest causes of gender bender or children becoming hormonally balanced and want to go through the SOGI transgender. So, or getting into the same polarity, same sex rather than heterosexual. So a lot of this is not just the atrazine and the chemicals that we've been seeing in the foods, but these actual parasites, which I've known about for a long time. And people can Google, we now are knowing it's being pulled down in air pollution. We've seen it in water and air pollution already with the toxoplasmosis through geoengineering. So these are some of the things in here. Like I said, Delta athletes, again, I've worked with a lot of pro athletes. And at one point, there are different hospitals like Johns Hopkins University and other hospitals have been using the oils, the biofeedback for over 2 decades. Some of my clients and nurses in these fields. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but Johns Hopkins is one where we have an entire ward just dedicated to getting people out of the system and off the geriatric ward and off the chronic pain meds and stuff like that. And even for palliative care, we've had a lot. I've done palliative care and hospice, and actually, guess what? They ended up walking out of the hospital in palliative care.
That is so incredible.
Yeah. I've had people with surgeries. They were booked for amputations because there were misdiagnoses, as they always are, on that, unless you've had been hit by a train sort of thing or in an MBA. But I've had people where they were going to do amputations and literally the surgeon stopped it because of what we did in less than 72 hours. And then we actually just pulled them right out because they thought, well, maybe we're going to amputate up to the knee. No, let's go below the knee. Let's take the ankle off. How about some feet, some toes? And I said, how about give me another 4 or 5 days and you won't even see anything on the toes. I said, you've had them in your system for 50 years and I've only had them for 3 days. I said, can do this in 3 days and educate them. They don't need your pharmaceutical cut and burn and slash burn. So I have done that many times by the people to the point of gangrene and had them reverse their supposedly insulin resistant, blah, 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 diabetic stuff. So these are some of the things I have noticed. I've had people in comas come out, and I've had people paralyzed or with strokes start actually moving in front of me. They're on my wall there for my YouTube channel. So
you're a master in this field. It's just incredible, all the things that you do.
I love it.
And this stuff turn around like that. Wow.
Yeah. So when we did our sessions together, what did you find was some of the most hopeful things? I said, part of it is having books, because if something goes down, there's something about reading and having the physical books. And I'm like, I'm a book girl, right? I used to have an entire library for my clients to come in and have tea. And, I didn't see them half the time because they're in my library and having tea. But there are the NeuroVizr. These are the books that are so important. And for the genius, like anyone can do it. Like seriously. I mean, I've had children as low as 6 years old resetting their chakras, which is the nodal points, as I was showing you before, of where the actual circulation is. That's why this comes down through the neurobiofeedback and the nervous system. Those are your cranial nerves that come out. Those are like your 12 cranial nerves are almost like your chakra and your 12 chakra points, by the way. So what have you found has been the most helpful, like that we've done? We talked a little bit about that. I've also used a little bit too. I've gone back to isogenics myself and they've got a vegetarian vegan version, by the way. So I'm on my cleanse day here. Hot or cold, I've got my tea today. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. I use this once in a while, but have you ever seen my mug? And I have a white bear back here, so I call it my bio bear. So I used to do all the health shows, right? And I would actually show the children, like pediatric, how to do it with a bear. So anyway, I've got a NeuroVizr bear and I got my bio bear. So what have you found has been helpful? What have you learned? What have you incorporated and brought into your life that's made a change for the positive?
I think I incorporated everything I talked about, whether I've started right for a couple months or a week. I started for breakfast and lunch, delicious. Oh my God, so good. So I'm on a 30-day cleanse with that. I think originally when we started talking though, all of the things that you know about the genius, how to read the aura because of iridology, like how you read things. Yeah, how you read things and do things goes much deeper than I've ever seen or known anyone to do. So that application is valuable to me. And then I bought all your 400 libraries, and I'm totally blown away by your knowledge base of all of that stuff that's going on in the world that we all need to do and take care of ourselves, to not be as affected by it, and to keep ourselves healthy. That's been very important. The NeuroVizr has been incredibly important because like I don't know, when you got PTSD, it feels like you're always on, you're always whatever, right? There isn't that relaxation, calmness, and 3 times a day I'm getting into that, like so nice. And yeah, it's got like 100 programs or more, so I can do whatever I and all the essential oils. Like it was fun purchasing a bunch of essential oils and learning how to combine it. I've always been like, first of all, I'm a book nut like you, and I've always been a reader and I've always been a learner. But I like playing in the kitchen and doing science projects. So learning about all the different essential oils and how to, put ones together has actually been a lot of fun. And then when I finish here, I'm going to do some navel candling. And so, I've done ear candling forever and for clients.
Did you laugh when I said, I want you to do belly button, umbilical navel cutting, rather than the people think I'm going to cut the cords with St. Michael or something, or the angels are going to come down. But and were you not blown the first time I said, go try 2 candles in the belly button?
So somebody told me about putting castor oil in the belly button and how healing that is. I didn't understand or know about navel candling. I still probably don't understand all of what it does, but happy to try it. And then you say, not just 1 candle, like your depth of knowledge is it's just incredible.
Oh, thank you. One of the things in here, like for example, the NBC, nuclear biological chemical, what is this? But these are all the different things that they've put out, that they are acknowledging that they've put out through biological warfare, right? So I've got the ones from literally the CDC and stuff like that. So a lot of things like to do with, just quickly as we have a few minutes, all the different natural remedies that are way beyond, and nicotine should be in a natural herbal form, not in a pharmaceutical patch. On here, acid stuff, air purifiers, different kind of natural medicines and stuff like that, your parasite purging, all these different things. These are the ones that I actually invented, biogeometry ones, a lot of books, activated charcoal, things like that, black seed oil, blue lotus tea, instead of using methylene blue, castor oil, CBD, chlorine dioxide, several different forms of it. Most of mine are actually plated. A whole section here on enemas, kalimas. I've actually probably done this since I talked to you. What are my top things that I use for my enemas and colonics that you can imprint for your Genius too? Also, like a lot of people are having UTIs or, bladder stuff or incontinence, what we can use. Dental is a huge thing for people, many forms of DSMO. We get into the drug recovery. There's a whole thing on radiation, which is mind blowing. We started fighting gamma radiation, and then my friends detected it on their detectors because we have gamma and Geiger stuff here too. But all the different things that might be possible for the fire, the slugs, and all this kind of stuff. Vision, hearts, things instead of statins and beta blockers. And like I said, there's a whole thing too, even with the hormone disruptors that we're seeing with the parasites right now. So if it's